My name is Jennifer Schram. This is the workshop that I've created for the final presentation. I've created this workshop to address the Community Board of East Point, Michigan, which is the city that I live in, or potentially to the Macomb County Action Agency, which is a government organization that works to reduce poverty in my county. The future goal that I have is to work in my community, helping strengthen the skills, relationships, and emotional well-being of the people in my community. The name of my presentation is Literacy, Wealth, and Parenting in Our Community, the importance of 21st century literacy for the parents and caregivers in our lower middle class community, how low-income outcomes can be improved by literacy initiatives in Macomb County, Michigan. Hello, thank you for being here. I really appreciate your willingness to participate in this workshop today. Throughout this workshop, we're going to be talking about the importance of literacy and the different components necessary to increase literacy of parents and caregivers in our community. I hope to be able to accomplish the following objectives. I hope that after this workshop, you will have gained awareness of literacy opportunities for the community that we live in, that you have gained some understanding as to why these opportunities need attention, and that you will have gained some insight and tools for creating possible solutions to these opportunities. Please feel free to ask questions and share as openly as you're comfortable during the group work. We're going to start with why I believe this topic is important, why this matters. Financial literacy, civic literacy, and health literacy can all help increase the potential of the people living in our communities who currently fall beneath the ALICE threshold or the poverty line. Macomb County's current state has a growing number of people falling below the poverty line, with a higher percentage of children in poverty than adults. An even larger population falls below the ALICE threshold and is unable to meet the basic needs that they have with their current income based on the cost of living in our county. Macomb County's current state has a growing number of people falling below that ALICE threshold. I think it's 26%. Yeah, 26% of the Macomb County area falls below that threshold, with, I believe, 14% of families with children under 5 years old living below the poverty level. 18% of all children under 5 years old in the county live below the poverty level. There's so many literacies that could help improve the lives of these families. Some of the most important are financial literacy, civic literacy, and health literacy. Financial literacy gaps include things like understanding the complexities of credit card use or knowing how interest rates work. Not having civic literacy can impact a person's ability to access programs for which they could be eligible in our community, or knowing how they can personally impact change in East Point. Gaps in health literacy knowledge affect personal health outcomes in both physical and mental health, and building literacy in any of these areas can positively impact the earning potential and future outcomes for people living in poverty. Family well-being is an umbrella term that evaluates the mental and physical health, security, and stability of a family. The concept of family well-being helps us see the bigger picture when assessing the information in front of us. A child's caregiver is really important to their success, and the ability of that caregiver to be supportive is often directly connected to their state of well-being. Mental health, just like physical health, requires specific literacy for somebody to appropriately understand the choices around them. And without proper understanding, parents risk further struggle, not only for themselves, but also for their children. Next, we're going to review some tools available to help parents grow their literacy skills. Critical literacy gives us the tools to question the invisible messages we come across in all realms. From marketing and advertisements to social media posts and the news, critical literacy gives us the pathway to find the information we need to see the whole story. Critical literacy is engaging in the open curiosity necessary to see between the lines of content to what is being presented or what's being neglected, and following that curiosity until you find the source. It requires awareness of often invisible context like power structures and underlying complexities. And I believe that critical literacy is imperative in the realm of family well-being. As individuals, so much of our human experience is a reflection of the messages we receive from our society and culture. The increasing contradictions in messaging and the additional exposure to those messages from things like social media has taken a toll on everybody. This can be especially true in the realm of parenting, where there can be a lot of shame around decision making. No matter what decisions we make for our kids, it can be something that we are judged for and that we feel shame around often. Knowing how to read between the lines helps make space for more grace for ourselves and for other people. Though we are not all educators, using the pedagogy framework for critical literacy can help us create content that highlights critical thinking skills. We can be relevant by using current references and common experiences in our messaging. We can help parents be reflexive by bringing certain biases to light and by acknowledging our own privilege. We can create scaffolding for deconstruction by making infographics or worksheets that help with questions like, who is benefiting if you believe this message, or who is this message for? Creating dialogue space like community workshops or online message boards can help us explore together, using our diversity as a tool, which can also be supported by intersectional pedagogy by including difficult topics like oppression and struggle. We can empower by talking about the different forms of power and providing content on self-efficacy skills like growth mindset that give people back their own power. I believe it is a transformative practice. Um, I believe that transformative practice is a natural product of this work. The concept that being able to change um, what equity looks like in our community, that's going to happen automatically by doing this work. The more practice that we have with critical literacy, the more urgently we see the need for social action. Media literacy is the next section. Though so much of the needed work is in real life, in people's homes, schools, and workplaces, a lot of the interactions parents have and children even today, they have interactions online. Using critical literacy tools like the ones we just reviewed can help parents deconstruct the messages that they're receiving from the media around them. Um, Andrea, oh, Andrea is a media literacy educator. In her talk here that she did for TEDx, she shares some of examples of specifically the deconstruction process of critical literacy, and she helps take you through some examples specifically of that process. So we can take some time to watch this video and learn a little bit. I'm going to skip watching the video so that I'm good on time, but that's what I would do, is play this video. When it comes to parenting, caregivers need to be able to deconstruct the messages that are being given to them about what it means to be a good parent. Media literacy gives them the lasso of truth that allows them to see through the guilt and shame that can show up in so many marketing messages. This can be especially important for people who are struggling to meet their financial needs. In a society of never enoughness, there are so many messages that conflate needs and wants. Children exposed to this messaging can put additional strain on their parents by bringing pressure from their peers to participate in the latest trends, which could be Pokemon cards or Minecraft coins or Nike shoes. Those pressures can be emotionally and financially devastating if you feel like you're having to choose between your child's social well-being and healthy groceries. Although it seems like a false dichotomy, it does matter. Their social standing can be such an emotional experience for children, and is really important for their experiences. Financial struggles contain so many different types of emotional strife like this, where you're having to make choices where there isn't really a good choice, or where you don't feel like there's a right choice. And having this literacy specifically can help you with that. Civic literacy can be impacted in negative ways by the divisiveness in many news content. It's become really common practice since 2020, for many of us to use virtue signaling, which is where we use various mediums to display our beliefs, from yard signs to flags or bumper stickers. The signaling that we do can actually affect how neighbors feel about each other. So being aware of the purposeful divisiveness in the news can help us ask more questions and make fewer assumptions about the people around us, even when they're signaling a viewpoint that we might not agree with. Community programs like picnics, cleanups, or park events can help bridge gaps by increasing proximity. Proximity can be a driver of empathy if there is a known commonality. So attending these types of functions can become that commonality and help bring people closer together. Bringing people together can be the most important when it comes to our differences in culture, which is actually the next topic of cultural literacy. Okay, started automatically. Just going to pause it there. um, oh, wait. Oh, no. Oh, I see. I moved forward and it tried to play the video. We're going to not play the video and move forward again. Oh, okay. Um, the diversity in our city is an important opportunity to increase social cohesion, community safety, and equity. Macomb County actually has a reputation in the state for racial tension and unease, starting all the way back in 1967 with the Bailey family in Warren, Michigan. There's been a really complex and real integration struggle. East Point is one of the few cities in Macomb County that has a minority population that is actually the majority. So we have a potential with that unique group that we have together here in East Point to be able to leverage that diversity and use it as a tool for change. There are many ways that we can help increase cooperation between cultures that we have already discussed, workshops and events bringing people together to help break down walls and build emotional bridges. We could also use storytelling through pictures, music, movies, radio, podcasts, other literacy tools like that, which can help specifically with cultural literacy because they're empathy building practices. Visual art, particularly, can connect us to experiences that are universal in a way that language can't. Images depict emotions that are especially powerful in this way. The same with music. Books from diverse perspectives and experiences have the power to change a one story framework, which is where you just have one concept of what a culture is like, to a more complex and nuanced understanding of those cultures. These mediums have the power to be the antidote to cultural illiteracy, and storytelling gives us the access to those things that we might not have. Things like having reading time at the library and reading different stories in groups where you're reading about different cultures is one of the ways that we can do that. The more time that we spend together, the more we have the ability to see ourselves in the eyes of the person standing across from us. Proximity promotes empathy, but only when there's engagement. Creating an environment that encourages that engagement can help East Point be the change we need in the community of Macomb County. We've talked a lot about why literacy is important and what we might be able to do to make an impact in our community. Now I want to talk a little bit more specifically about how we can do that. Um, the journey of how we take in new information and process it into ourselves can happen through multiple processes: experiencing, conceptualizing, analyzing, and applying. It is shifting between these processes that helps us move into understanding. Humans take in and process information in a number of different ways. The most effective learning strategies provide the same information through multiple learning channels, which reinforces the information learned and can ensure deep and lasting retention. The five most popular recognized modalities are spatial, gestural, oral, visual, and linguistic. Some other sources also include tactile or kinesthetic as a mode as well. These are the ways that we practice. The ways that we practice these modes are often by presenting a few simultaneously. So like a video, for example, combines visual, linguistic, and oral modes for a more memorable experience. The workshop that we're going through today has used multiple modes, almost all six, um, for the same reason. Try to help you remember what it is that we're talking about. Some of the strategies for community organizing that have been proven to be successful are building relationships, communicating a clear message, and using digital tools. Building relationships requires many modal presentations, specifically body language and tone of voice. Communicating in a clear message in a direct is directly connected to linguistics, and using digital tools can and will require being well versed in multiliteracies, like technology and social media, as well as many different modalities like videos, pictures, and designs of public spaces. Um, Before I share what I hope you're going to take away from this presentation, I would like to pass out a questionnaire. At this time in the workshop, I would pass out a questionnaire with a few questions on it. The questions that I've prepared would be, how do you feel right now? What was one thing that you heard today that you did not know before? What was something that got in the way? So was there something in this presentation that you don't believe or don't agree with? Or is there something that I did or said that turned off your engagement while I was talking? And then what is something that you want to know more about? And the last question is, what is one thing that you learned today that you could apply tomorrow? So I would take some time to go through those questions, and then I would circle back and say, thank you for taking the time to respond to these questions. I want to conclude by sharing the things that I hope you'll take away from this conversation today. I hope that it has become clear that literacy is a fundamental tool for improving the I'm just gonna say the whole thing again. I hope it has become clear that literacy is a fundamental tool for improving parent and child outcomes. Critical literacy, in particular, has the ability to give power back to families by helping them read between the lines to see where they're lacking privilege, where they can see clearly when they're not enough, and when that feeling comes up, that it's actually a marketing strategy and that they don't have to feel that way. Literacy campaigns have the power to make a meaningful impact on the poverty and ALICE threshold in our community. I hope you also saw the unique opportunity that our city has to be the change that we want to see in Macomb County, that social and cultural literacy can help bridge empathy gaps by building our relationships with our community leaders and each other. I know that working together to increase local literacy will elevate our community, and together we'll go farther. We are better together, and we will do better together. The last few slides are some further resources. So I want to leave you with some additional resources, including an organization that's helped many states reduce poverty and increased well-being outcomes called the National Center for Family Learning. There's a video here available that explains their program. There's also some additional literacy resources. One's called Parenting Awareness in Michigan, which shares a lot of information about how to parent effectively, different strategies and coping mechanisms and things like that, and communities as well that you can become a part of. And then there's also a digital literacy skills resource that I actually received and was able to find during this course that I found to be extremely helpful for media literacy. And then I included some data resources for the local area. So the East Point census data, COVID and financial hardship in Michigan, which is the ALICE report that shows where people are on the ALICE threshold. And then the Macomb Community Needs Assessment, which really brought to light the things that were important to us here in Macomb County, and what we really could work on. Thank you for taking the time to be here today, and I hope you've been able to take something away from our time together. I appreciate you, and the fact that you were here with me today. Thank you so much. The next two slides are just my resources. There's just 2 pages. I tried to only include the things that I actually touched on, not all the resources from the whole course, but these are the things that I actually referenced directly in the slides. So thank you so much for participating. I hope you have a great day. Good luck.